Hello YouTube, Heartless Angel here, back in another Pokemon ORAS Wi-Fi battle. Now today we have another OU match with Rulob here with our Sandstorm team that we brought in the last episode. And if you haven't checked that out, be sure to definitely go do that before or after you watch this video. The outcome was a spectacular one, which I will not spoil for you. So we will start out with our Tyranitar Clayface as he starts out with his Thunderous. Now, I stay in and go for a Stone Edge here in case he wants to predict the Stealth Rock and go for a Taunt, which will allow us to get a free Stone Edge off, possibly taking out the Thunderous. But he does just decide to switch out and go into the Medicham, which the Stone Edge will connect and will do an okay amount. It won't, will just be under a 2-hit KO due to the fact that Medicham does resist. But he will get buffeted by the Sandstorm here, which is always nice. And I am going to switch out here simply because I do not want Tyranitar to stay in on this Medicham. And we go into Hungry, our Hippowdon, who is our physical wall. He does Mega Evolve here and go straight for the Drain Punch instead of going for Fake Out. Whether he doesn't run Fake Out or he just decides to go straight for damage to get back some of that HP that he had lost, I'm not too sure. But it will do a decent amount on Hippowdon. He will get buffeted, of course, by the Sandstorm once again, and due to the fact that we are ground type, we will not receive any damage. I do go for a Toxic here, just in case, because I didn't want to switch out in case he wasn't running the Ice Punch. The fact that he did switch out into a Sableye here makes me think that maybe he's not running Ice Punch, and we do get a Toxic off on the Sableye, and yes, I was willing to risk the Ice Punch, because let's say he wasn't and he decided to go for another Drain Punch. Nothing wants to switch in on that. So he does go for the Trick here, trading our Smooth Rock with his Choice Specs, actually, which is a new thing for me. I've never seen a Sableye run Choice Specs, whether it is just for the Trick or not, I'm not too sure. We do get an Earthquake off, however, instead of going for our Stealth Rocks, and that will do a very good amount on the Sableye, coupled with the Sandstorm damage and the Toxic damage. He will switch out here into his Sylveon as I go for another Earthquake, and it will do once again a decent amount due to the fact that I'm pretty sure Sylveon isn't exactly. I'm pretty sure that Sylveon is weaker on the physically defensive side than it is on the specially defensive side. I'm not going to stay in, however, simply because of the Sandstorm no longer being in effect and not wanting to take a Hyper Voice, and still wanting to get the Sandstorm back in with both of my Sand Setters, and I will come into Magic Spoons, who will take a Hyper Voice to the face and will survive. And even with the Leftovers recovery, we will go for a Psyshock here, and that will be enough to take the Sylveon out. That was a huge threat as it completely demolished our Garchomp, and it kind of threatened our Tyranitar too, despite the fact that Tyranitar is Salt Vest. He does come in with the Cacturn here, and I do decide to switch out, not wanting to eat a Sucker Punch and also being locked into Psyshock, and go back into Hungry to get our Sandstorm up, which may seem like a weird move, simply because of the fact that I'm completely weak to Cacturn, but my main priority here was to get the Sandstorm back up. He does go for a Sword Dance here, predicting the switch, and goes for a Seed Bomb, which will easily at a +2 take Hungry out, which is unfortunate. We didn't get our Rocks up this match, but we do have our Sandstorm up, and that is the most important thing. It is the main goal of the team. So we are going to come out into Galvantula here because we can survive any one hit from this Cacturn thanks to our Focus Sash, and hit it off with a 4 times effective Bug Buzz, which will easily KO the Cacturn. He will switch out, however, into his Thunderous and will eat up a Bug Buzz very nicely, and unfortunately the Sandstorm will take away our Focus Dash here, which is unfortunate. But we do outspeed, as we can see we are buffeted first, we do outspeed this Thunderous. And I will just go for a Thunder as he goes for the Taunt, predicting the Sticky Web setup, which is fine. I predicted the Taunt and just went straight up for the Thunder. It will do a nice neutral amount of damage, and it will take him down to the point where the Sandstorm will finish him off, which is great. The Thunderous was also a fairly large threat with that Prankster, Taunt, and possibly even Thunder Wave. There's not much he could Thunder Wave, admittingly, especially not the Garchomp, but it was what we had to do. So he will go for a Fake Out here, which is surprisingly won't surprisingly won't take out Galvantula, and the Sandstorm will subside here. So we will get a nice Thunder off, which will cleanly take out probably the biggest threat to our team, the Medicham. So Galvantula definitely played a very key role in this match, I will say, as he comes back into the Cacturne. And I do just go for the Bug Buzz, as he just goes clean for the Sucker Punch, which will take Galvantula out. But that is fine. At this point, there's not much else we can that he can do to us, pretty much, because of the fact that we do have a distinct advantage here. So Galvantula did a great job. I will come out into Samehada here as he comes into the Mandibuzz, another huge threat. To be honest, he had a lot of threats to the team on his team, so it was definitely interesting to work around. We will Mega Evolve here, and we will get a Fire Blast off, simply because I didn't know if he was going to stay in or switch out on the Cacturne, and I knew a Fire Blast would be more than enough to take him out. And the Mandibuzz does take that Fire Blast quite well. I will switch out a Samehada here, simply because I don't want to take a foul play to the face that will demolish Garchomp, especially with its base 170 attack. So we will come about into Clayface, who does resist the foul play, as he does go for and get our Sandstorm up once again, and that plays a key role in the rest of this match here. So we will eat that foul play up, and he does show that he is running leftovers. He does get his leftovers recovery, and he will go for a Toxic here. He does outspeed, and it's always unfortunate when your wall gets a Toxic or burn, simply because now you have less likely of a chance to survive certain hits. We will go for a Stone Edge here, however, and it will connect, and it will bring the Mandibuzz down to a nice amount. However, he does go for the Roost here after I take my Toxic damage, and he is not buffeted by the Sandstorm because Overcoat. So he does go for a Roost here, as I said, and he will lose his Flying typing, meaning that our second Stone Edge, which does connect, will do a considerably less amount of damage. I do predict him to go for another Roost here, simply because he's trying to Toxic Stall me out, which I unfortunately, as I mentioned in the last video, I completely hate Toxic Stall. I hate Stall of all kind. So I do take this chance to withdraw here and go out into Garchomp, simply because with the Sandstorm up, our Sand Force will be a huge factor against this Mandibuzz. He will come up to nearly full health after his leftovers recovery. He's just probably 2 or 3 points below being full health, if that even, which is unfortunate, but we will go for a Stone Edge here, and in the sand, it does do a gigantic amount of damage to this Mandibuzz. He will go for a Foul Play, which will equally do an equal devastatingly amount of damage on the Garchomp. Our Sandstorm will unfortunately subside here, and it does make me feel less confident about going for a second Stone Edge, but it is my best bet to do. So I do go for the Stone Edge, and it will be enough to take the Mandibuzz out, even without the Sandstorm up. So that is a great, once again, another huge threat, simply because it walls so much of the team. He will come out into the Sableye here, and I do want to switch out to try to get, you know, my Sandstorm back up with Clayface, simply because Garchomp, I don't know what he wants to do to my Garchomp. He may be running the Will-O-Wisp, and I definitely don't want Garchomp burn. And he does reveal the Will-O-Wisp here, and since we are already poisoned, he cannot Wisp us, so we cannot get the burn. So we will take Toxic damage, and he will take Sandstorm damage, and we are simply going to go for the Crunch here. It's neutral, it's stab. With the amount of health he's at, there's no point risking the miss with Stone Edge, but he does show he does have the Recover, and we'll take him up to a decent amount of health. But after the Crunch, we will do a great amount of damage. It is, as I said before, stab, neutral, and it will take him out after the crit. And whether the crit I'm quite sure the crit probably mattered, but after the Toxic and the Sandstorm damage, the crit might not have mattered in the end. I'm not sure. I don't run calc on these matches, to be 100% honest. So he does come out with his Cacturne, which is his last Pokemon, and does go for the Swords Dance, as we are just right now trying to go for pure damage. I do go for the Ice Beam. I do run Ice Beam on this Garchomp for Gliscors, which do cause another big issue with the team, simply because of its typing and how physically bulky it is. So he will survive, and even after being buffeted by the Sandstorm. I don't want to take a Sucker Punch here. Just in case I need to get the Sandstorm back up later, I do decide to switch out, especially since I'm predicting the Drain Punch here, which he actually goes for. And I would rather have Magic Spoons fall and have him regain less HP back from Magic Spoons than I would from Garchomp. So Magic Spoon will fall, which is unfortunate, but it's not the end of the world, and he will get buffeted by the Sandstorm here. And we will just come back into Mole Man, who is our late game sweeper with the Stand Rush, and he will easily be able to take out the Cacturn. I was predicting a Sucker Punch here, but we actually, it would seem he doesn't go for the Sucker Punch, and the Cacturn will go down to an EQ. So that was a great game, man. Thank you for appearing on the channel. I will take this opportunity, guys, to tell you about two groups I'm a part of on Facebook, Pokemon Xenos Legion and Realm Earthsea, the latter of which I am a gym leader on. If you guys are interested, be sure to check them out. I will leave those links in the description below. If you would also like to challenge me on one of these videos, be sure to follow me on Twitter, which I will also leave in the description. Until next time, guys, this is Heartless Angel, signing off.